Drug abuse kills more than 200,000 people each year. It may not sound like a lot in comparison to the world population, but this is just one of many categories that contribute to the death count. Teenagers need to understand the threat of drugs is real and surrounding them in everyday situations. Because there has been an increase in teens using drugs, I believe it's important to discuss which drugs teenagers are abusing, the ways that they discover and come to possess these drugs, and the methods people believe will prevent future death or injury from occurring. The choices in a drug market today can be easily compared to a candy store in a candy aisle in a convenience store. There are a wide variety of choices, all with different tastes and purposes. There are a number of drugs we see that are commonly abused among teenagers. The National Institute on Drug Abuse states that as of 2012, 36.4% of 12th graders had used marijuana at some point in the previous year. The active ingredient in marijuana is THC, also known as delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. THC is rapidly absorbed after smoking pot, and side effects include rapid heart rate, increased blood pressure, and slow reaction time. Another drug that has seen an increase in use recently is Adderall. Adderall is a prescribed stimulant that is commonly used to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. The Adderall abuse rate has increased from 5.4% in 2009 to 7.4% in 2013, and many are worried for what the future holds with this drug. Users frequently report improvements in focus and concentration, which has led to Adderall being used illegally as a study aid. It can also create feelings of euphoria, which has led to it also becoming popular as a recreational drug. Once the drug is worn off, users may feel tired, depressed, or irritable. Now that you're aware of some of the types of drugs the teens are using and the effects they have, you may be asking yourself, how do they find them? Teenagers are finding ways to come by these drugs, and it is a lot easier than one would think. A study was conducted in 2009 by the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse. Their study found that 40% of teens could get marijuana within the day. Another quarter said they could get it within the hour. That number has risen 37% since 2007. But what could that number be at now? The University of Michigan conducted a study in 2013 and determined that 6.5% of high school seniors smoked marijuana daily, and 23% admitted smoking within the last month. Even a survey conducted on 10th grade students determined that 4% smoked daily as well. We are living in a world where marijuana is becoming a recreational product, and the students have access to it through a variety of connections. Most of these connections are hard to pinpoint, and we have no way of specifically knowing, unfortunately. A nationally represented poll was conducted in 2012 by drugfree.org and MetLife. It included 3,900 teenagers enrolled in grades 9 through 12, as well as 800 parents. A staggering 20% of parents actually admitted to willfully giving their teen prescription meds they had on hand, for which their child had no prescription. That is essentially the answer, sadly enough. Many teens are receiving these drugs through friends and even taking them from family members. Dr. Larry Silver is an ADD medical expert, and he stated, "Some decide they no longer need or want their medication, or they find they get peer approval when they give away or sell pills." A New York Times article published a story about a boy using Adderall in high school. The article stated the following: "The boy exhaled as he opened an orange capsule and poured powder into a neat line on his armrest. He leaned over, closed one nostril, and snorted it." It paints a rather vivid picture. But he wasn't alone, he says. The boy states everyone in school either has a prescription or has a friend who does. Students are finding ways to obtain these drugs, and it doesn't help that we can't all agree on one method. The methods of preventing drug abuse vary from group to group, but each believes theirs is the most effective. Recently, marijuana has become an interesting topic in our country, as it was made legal for recreational use in 2 separate states. Because the drug is purchased primarily through unidentified dealers, it is hard to tackle from one angle. There are really two routes people believe to be the most effective in preventing marijuana use. The first are organizations like CALM, Citizens Against Legalizing Marijuana. They believe that the federal laws should be maintained and enforced and not relaxed or softened. They believe they help children by protecting them from the message that smoking marijuana is harmless because it's legal. However, a number of people believe that legalizing recreational use of marijuana is the best approach for preventing this from becoming a problem down the road. Organizations like NORML have been fighting marijuana prohibition for 40 years. They believe that prohibition only promotes use of drugs and that marijuana should be legal for adults. However, they do not support the use among children and believe it to be irresponsible. It is the idea that the only effective way is to legalize the drug and educate children like you would with alcohol or tobacco. Adderall has been a difficult drug to monitor and prevent abuse because the issues surrounding the abuse have just recently come to light. The president and CEO of the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids, Steve Passierb, stated the following: "The rates of Adderall misuse and abuse among high school seniors remains unacceptably high, and the new data make it very clear. The abuse of prescription medicines is an immediate threat to the health of America's teens." Another year of data and harsh spotlight specifically on prescription stimulants must serve as a call to all families to address the issues of unintentional medical abuse. The risks are real, and products with abuse potential surround our kids and our homes. Every home with a child and every parent needs to take action. Monitor your prescriptions, educate your kids, and dispose of old medicines. The best advice is to make sure that your kids are educated. Although no one wants to think it could happen to their child, drug abuse is still occurring in this country. These drugs continue to be a surrounding factor in a teenager's life due to their easy accessibility and perceived benefits. We continue to see different types of drugs being abused as well as new ways of obtaining them. It is up to us to determine a method that works best for our teenagers when it comes to preventing abuse. Drug abuse is a serious ordeal, and taking the right steps to educate your child could prevent them from becoming one of those 200,000 people who die each year.